A Course in Miracles. Lesson 29. God is in everything I see. The idea for today explains why you can see all purpose in everything. It explains why nothing is separate, by itself or in itself. And it explains why nothing you see means anything. In fact, it explains every idea we have used thus far, and all subsequent ones as well. Today's idea is the whole basis for vision. You will probably find this idea very difficult to grasp at this point. You may find it silly, irreverent, senseless, funny, and even objectionable. Certainly God is not in a table, for example, as you see it. Yet we emphasized yesterday that a table shares the purpose of the universe. And what shares the purpose of the universe shares the purpose of its creator. Try then, today, to begin to learn how to look on all things with love, appreciation, and open-mindedness. You do not see them now. Would you know what is in them? Nothing is as it appears to you. Its holy purpose stands beyond your little range. When vision has shown you the holiness that lights up the world, you will understand today's idea perfectly. And you will not understand how you could ever have found it difficult. Our 6 2-minute practice periods for today should follow a now familiar pattern. Begin with repeating the idea to yourself, and then apply it to randomly chosen subjects about you, naming each one specifically. Try to avoid the tendency towards self-directed selection, which may be particularly tempting in connection with today's idea because of its wholly alien nature. Remember that any order you impose is equally alien to reality. Your list of subjects should therefore be as free of self-selection as possible. For example, a suitable list might include: God is in this coat hanger. God is in this magazine. God is in this finger. God is in this lamp. God is in that body. God is in that door. God is in that wastebasket. In addition to the assigned practice periods, repeat the idea for today at least once an hour, looking slowly about you as you say the words unhurriedly to yourself. At least once or twice you should experience a sense of restfulness as you do this. Lesson 29. God is in everything I see. Lesson 29 is not poetic language. It is a demolition charge. God is in everything I see is not saying everything is God in form. It is saying there is nowhere God is absent in content. That single distinction is the whole lesson. Imagine electricity in a city. You do not confuse the electricity with the lamp, the refrigerator, the phone charger, or the street light. But you also never look at any of those objects and say, electricity is not here. If the electricity were absent, the form would be inert, meaningless, dead weight. Electricity does not change shape when it flows through a lamp versus a microwave. The lamp does not own the electricity, and the microwave does not interpret it better. The form varies. The source does not. God in this lesson is the electricity, not the appliance. The problem is not that God is in a table. The problem is that the table is all that seems to be seen. Vision is not seeing better objects. Vision is recognizing the same source everywhere, regardless of the object. That is why the lesson says you may find this silly, irreverent, senseless, funny, or objectionable. Because the ego survives by believing some outlets matter more than others. Special outlets, special people, special moments, special bodies. If God is in everything, then nothing gets to be special. And the ego hates equality. Here is another metaphor. Imagine sunlight pouring through stained glass windows. One window is red, one is blue, one is green, one is cracked, one is dusty. The light does not argue with the color. The light does not judge the crack. The light does not withhold itself from the dirty pane. Every window says something different about itself, but nothing about the light. When the Course says nothing you see means anything, it does not mean nothing matters. It means meaning does not come from the glass. Meaning comes from the light passing through it. The world is stained glass. Bodies are stained glass. Events are stained glass. Vision is recognizing the light, not fixing the window. That is why separation collapses under this lesson. If God is in everything, then nothing stands alone. If nothing stands alone, then guilt has no foothold. If guilt has no foothold, fear has nowhere to stand. This is why the lesson keeps repeating purpose. Purpose is not assigned by the object. Purpose is inherited from the source. A table does not decide its purpose. A body does not decide its purpose. A moment does not decide its purpose. They share purpose because they share source. Now here is the part that changes everything. Try then today to begin to learn how to look on all things with love, appreciation, and open-mindedness. This is not moral instruction. It is perceptual instruction. Love is not something you add to the world. Love is what remains when you stop insisting that appearances define reality. The reason TikTok, news, relationships, and personal stories default to fear is simple. Fear is what you get when you believe appearances are final. Love is what you see when appearances are transparent. That is why the lesson says you do not see them now, because seeing is not visual accuracy. Seeing is source recognition. You already proved this in your own life. Moments that once looked meaningless later revealed guidance. Encounters that felt random later revealed connection. Falls, delays, mistakes, and interruptions later revealed gentleness. The holy purpose was never missing. It was simply beyond the little range assigned by the ego. That is what beyond your little range means. Not that purpose is far away, but that the measuring tool was wrong. The ego uses a ruler. Reality uses light. And finally, the practice itself. Random selection is not a trick. It is a refusal to rank meaning. When you say, God is in this coat hanger, the mind wants to laugh. That laughter is the sound of hierarchy breaking, because the same presence that animates forgiveness animates furniture. Not in form, in source. When restfulness comes, even briefly, it is not because something changed outside. It is because the fight to decide what matters paused. And in that pause, vision slipped in. That is lesson 29. Not belief, not affirmation, not philosophy. Recognition. And once recognition happens, the only mystery left is how it ever seemed difficult at all.